Hello and welcome to video explaining the evaluation context in DAX calculation. Some of the people say that once you have mastered the concept of evaluation of context in DAX calculation, you have mastered DAX. This is mostly true, and if you have mastered this context, you are a long way up to the learning curve. Now, a word of caution to you. If you are just starting with DAX, then everything won't be clear or make sense to you immediately. Nonetheless, I would urge you to stay with me and initially follow these concepts mechanically. Once you start to gain experience, things will automatically start making sense to you. Even for me, at times, it becomes difficult to fully comprehend these concepts with complex DAX patterns. So don't worry much a lot to start with. With that, let us have an understanding of the context evaluation in DAX. Context is a layer of filtering that is applied to calculations, often dynamically to produce a result specific to every value in your visuals, including row and column totals as well. The evaluation of DAX expression considers the context in which formula operates. So the same DAX expression will return different values depending on the existing context. For example, a cell inside a matrix visual will have a different filter context in each of the cell. Most of the context is automatic, but some context allow you to control the underlying data passed to your DAX calculations. So, evaluation context is composed primarily of two contexts. The first one is filter context. This is very simple to understand, and if you have used any kind of pivot tables in Excel, then you already know this. It is just that in DAX it is using a little different terminology. It simply defines a set of active rows which should be considered in your DAX calculation. It is always present in any of the visuals you will be using. The second one is row context. This is simple concept which I believe has been made to look more complex by using these technical terms. In simple language, it says that take the value for the current row or each row separately and use it in calculation. This exists only during calculated columns or table iterations using DAX iterative functions. And finally, using some of the DAX functions during calculations, a row context can be transitioned into filter context, but not vice versa. We will look at this topic little later in the course. For the time being, let us focus on our understanding about two of these contexts. So let us understand a little more about these concepts directly looking at our sample dataset in Power BI. Now, taking the same matrix visuals which we have created in our last video, we will move ahead. For simplicity purpose, we will keep only total sales measure here and we will drag the CT rows here. So let us first of all select. Let us remove product cost and total profit. We will keep only a single measure here. Now we will move this product category to columns and we will add one more field in this rows area. So let us go to geography and this time we will drag and drop CT in this row headers. So this way you can see that we have the details for all the cities and all the product categories documented here. So you can scroll down a little bit and see other details as required. Now each of the cell in value area of this matrix visual has a set of coordinates coming from the row area and column headers. These coordinates are called as initial filter context. For example, the first value here of 2512.93 has filter coordinates coming from row area where the city will be Ballard and product category will be accessories. So these are initial filter coordinates for this particular value. So the sales measure is being calculated using these two coordinates from the sales table. So let us switch back to diagram view to understand a little more about this information flows. So the initial filter coordinates were taken from the respective tables. The first one was city, which is coming from geography. The information flows down to customer and from here it flows down to the sales table. So in our case, city was Ballard, so it will flow down from geography till sales table. Second coordinates was coming from category, which was for accessories. So it will all the way flow down from this category to subcategory, then to products, and then to sales tables. So both of these details once get filtered down in sales table, and finally the total will get calculated. Only the relevant values will get filtered out in the sales table for calculation purpose. So this is performed for each of the sales. So even for bikes also, it will take the coordinates and it will go back to sales table, filter out the relevant rows, and then perform calculation to arrive at this 41,000 figure. Further, now currently if you see the filter values in this particular area, we have visual level filters with these three fields. So currently none of them are being filtered out. So there are other filtered options as well, which is like page level filters and report level filters. So you can put any of the other fields also if required over here. You can also insert a particular slicer by like this. Let us say we want to put a particular field from our customer table, which can be kind of a Marshall status. So let us put here in our field list. So here you can also filter out the relevant values and your values in this sales measure will also get filtered. So accordingly, the filtered values will also take the filtered coordinates from slicers or even from this visual level filters, page level filters or report level filters. So all of these filters are cumulative and it will reduce the available data that these visuals can show up. You can also filter out the data by selecting some of the fields from other visuals if you have created up. So this is called as interactive selections. So there are multiple ways through which filter coordinates can be applied to your DAX measures. While arriving at the results from DAX measures, all of these filter coordinates are considered and it is called as filtered context. Now, there might be some situations where you may not want to apply any of these filter coordinates during formula evaluation. You can do that using some DAX functions and also by stopping interaction between the visuals. We will look at this in more detail in later part of the course. I hope it is now clear to you what is filter context. The simple way to remember this filter context, it will be always present in all the visuals and results of your DAX measures will always be impacted with this filter coordinates. Now let us have a quick look at the row context. So let us move to the data table view and we will see the sales tables where we have added our calculated columns for profit. Now we have already understood about a little more in row context in previous videos. So let us reiterate in these videos as well. Now, initially while discussing about the calculated columns, we have already seen how the values for the current row are being calculated based on the values for the product cost and the sales amount. So these values are being picked up for the current row and this final value is being derived at. This referring to current row and picking up the value, it is called as row context. It always refers to and works only on a single row which can contain multiple columns. There are no A1 style references used in Power BI while entering the DAX formulas. Instead, we will refer to the entire fields. However, we can refer to a single row using this row context. Now, this row context is inbuilt when you are entering DAX functions to create calculated columns. However, it is not present in DAX measures. You can create row context temporarily inside DAX measures using DAX iterator functions. We will look at more for DAX iterator functions in little later part of the course. Further, row context will be active only for the one table which is referred and its information won't flow to other tables which are present in your data models. So it is restricted to the current tables only. So row context is present when you create calculated columns inside a table. However, filter context is mostly present in all of the visuals and it mostly applies to calculated measures. Row context simply means that data for the current row across all the columns of that row is being considered. This is always working on a single row, while filter context refers to the multiple rows which contains the relevant data. Rows where given value is present is considered and others are ignored during filter context. Row context does not flow from one table to other table using relationships. You would need to use filter context if row context information needs to be flowed down from lookup table to fact table. Filter context always works in conjunction with relationship between tables. So the information will definitely flow from lookup table to fact tables, but not vice versa. Measures created using iterator DAX functions use row context. All other DAX functions uses filter context. And using nesting of iterator DAX functions, row context can also be used. Some of the DAX functions can change row context to a filter context, but not a vice versa. No DAX functions will change the filter context into a row context. Now this transition happens when you use a calculate function. If it is used inside calculated columns, then row context present will be converted to a filter context. Using iterator DAX functions only, it will use row context, but it is not transforming filter context into a row context. So with this brief summary, I hope you are clear about the differences between these two evaluation contexts. It may require some hands-on experience of writing DAX functions to become more familiar with these concepts. So don't let this hold you back from learning more DAX, as it will eventually become clear to you guys. So stay tuned and learn more DAX. That is it from my side for this video. See you guys in next video.